And then with Ja, he's a funny guy. He has a lot to say all the time, especially for a guy who rarely takes accountability. But you know what? That's for another day.
What did Ja have to say on this occasion?
Nothing of intelligent depth. It was really just his just running his mouth, and he's been running his mouth for a long time, and it's funny to run your mouth when you're on the bench.
You feel like you get the same joy right now? Do we use the same thing?
No.
No, this actually happened. A four-time NBA champion looked Ja Morant straight in the eyes and labeled him a wasted talent on national television. Klay Thompson didn't hide behind a podcast, didn't wait months, and didn't leak it through some mystery source. He said it loud, clear, and directly into a microphone while the cameras were still hot. Minutes after the final buzzer, Klay went in. No filter, no pause. And the wild part, nobody pushed back. Not the media, not former players, not even Ja's own circle. Some of Ja's teammates even rushed to defend him, which says everything.
We all want to see him out there and do his best, but he's just been letting a lot of other stuff in the way of that. We need that in the NBA. We need our best players to be out there, and when you're a star, it comes with a great responsibility. I hate to see that go to waste.
What Klay did that night wasn't trash talk. It was a full-blown public takedown. By the time Klay finished speaking, the damage was already done. He dropped statements about Ja that don't fade, don't rewind, and don't disappear. And here's where it gets even crazier. Ja didn't even play that game. He was on the bench in street clothes, sidelined again, nursing yet another injury, and somehow still managed to spark beef with one of the most respected champions the league has ever seen. So what really set this off? Why did Klay choose this moment to put Ja on blast in front of the whole world? And the uncomfortable question nobody wants to ask, was Klay actually right about everything he said? November 22nd was supposed to be calm, just a regular matchup between Memphis and Dallas.
I just want to know when, Ja became tough. If you really won't smoke with him, right? Why you don't extend your arm all the way? Why you got the bend in the elbow to point in the face? You fake tough and you fake like you won't smoke with the dude?
Ja had tweaked his calf about a week earlier against Cleveland and was ruled out. Simple. He sat on the bench in a sweatsuit, watching like any injured star should. That should have been it. When you're hurt, you support your squad and keep it moving. Memphis handled business, winning 102-96 against a solid Dallas team. Clean win, no chaos needed. And yet somehow, this night turned into something way bigger than basketball.
If you're not on the floor backing it up, if you're in the team jumpsuit, be quiet and cheer on your team.
Everyone should have been walking off the court once the buzzer sounded. Game over, story finished. But Ja Morant had different plans. Still in street clothes, still without playing a single minute, Ja marched onto the floor and went straight at Klay Thompson's face. He was pointing, jawing, and getting loud enough that security had to rush in and split them up. Let that sink in. A guy who didn't even suit up was trying to start smoke with a four-time NBA champion, and Ja wasn't done there. Moments later, his teammate Cam Spencer was doing a normal post-game interview courtside, just answering questions, no drama. Then Ja walked right up, jumped into the mic, and hijacked the whole thing. He started hyping Cam's shooting while sneak dissing Klay's performance. Here's the problem though, the numbers didn't back it up. Cam Spencer hit 3 threes, Klay Thompson hit 6. Klay literally doubled him from deep that night. So Ja was talking shooting trash to a guy who clearly outshot the player he was hyping, all while wearing a sweatsuit because he couldn't even play. Most players would have let it go. Regular season game. No stakes, no reason to turn it into headlines. But Klay Thompson isn't most players. What he did next flipped the entire situation on its head. Klay walked into that post-game press conference and chose straight demolition. Calm, controlled, no yelling. Just a man with 4 championship rings speaking his truth. He sat down, looked at the microphones, and broke down exactly what Ja represents. His opener said it all. He called Ja a funny guy, but not in a good way. Then Klay went further, pointing out that Ja always has something to say, especially for someone who almost never takes accountability. And that's when the narrative really shifted. That wasn't basketball criticism. That was a straight character call out. Klay wasn't talking about jump shots or defense. He was talking about who Ja is as a person. And that was only the warm-up. Klay kept going, saying there was zero depth or intelligence behind what Ja was saying, just non-stop noise. He made it clear this wasn't a one-time moment either. Ja's been running his mouth for a long time. A future Hall of Famer was basically telling the world that a young star brings nothing meaningful to the table, just empty talk that goes way past trash talk into full dismissal. The message was brutal. Klay was saying Ja isn't even worth taking seriously. Then came the line that froze the room, the one people are still quoting weeks later. Klay stared into the camera and said, "It's funny to run your mouth when you're on the bench." He paused, then twisted the knife. He added that it's kind of the story of Ja's career so far. 5 words that summed it all up. All the talent, all the highlights, all the hype, and somehow it still feels unfinished. The basketball world keeps waiting for the real Ja Morant to finally arrive. Klay didn't whisper what people say behind closed doors. He said it out loud. One last shot landed before he wrapped up, and this one hurt the most. He said everyone wants to see Ja out there at his best, but too many other things keep getting in the way. Klay reminded everyone the league needs its stars on the floor. That being the face of the game comes with responsibility. And then he dropped the final word. He hates seeing all that potential go to waste. Wasted talent. That's how Klay Thompson labeled Ja Morant in front of the entire basketball world. Not struggling, not inconsistent, but wasted. Like the best version of Ja might already be behind him. What made Klay's words hit different wasn't volume, it was credibility. If almost anyone else had said this, it would have sounded like noise. Coming from Klay Thompson, it landed like a verdict. Klay earned the right to speak this way. 4 championship rings don't lie. He was a core piece of one of the greatest dynasties the NBA has ever seen. And he didn't get there by talking, he got there by sacrificing. Klay tore his ACL and his Achilles in back-to-back injuries and still fought his way back onto an NBA court. He knows what greatness costs. He knows what discipline looks like. And he knows exactly what accountability means. Most importantly, Klay knows what it's like to be injured and forced to watch from the sideline. He lost 2.5 years of his career sitting in street clothes. Same seat Ja was in that night. Here's the difference, though. Klay didn't walk onto the court starting drama. He didn't jump into interviews to talk trash. He didn't chase headlines for the wrong reasons. He kept his head down, put in the work, and waited for his moment. And when he came back, he didn't come back loud. He came back winning another championship. That's why when Klay talks about running your mouth from the bench being the story of someone's career, he's speaking from lived experience. He knows what you're supposed to do when you can't play. And it wasn't whatever Ja was doing that night. That's what makes this criticism so rare and so heavy. Klay isn't known for drama. He's known for being calm, staying out of mess, and letting his game speak. So when this guy finally snaps and goes scorched earth in a press conference, the league listens. This wasn't random beef. This was Klay reaching his limit and saying out loud what everyone else had been thinking. And trust me, the entire league heard it loud and clear. What happened after those quotes went viral might be even more revealing than Klay's words themselves. Once everyone heard Klay call Ja a wasted talent on national television, you'd expect someone to jump in and defend him, a teammate, a coach, a friend around the league, somebody. That never happened. And what followed was the exact opposite. Instead of pushback, the pile-on started. Kenyon Martin went on Gil's Arena, one of the biggest basketball podcasts out there, and backed Klay completely. No hesitation. He questioned when Ja suddenly became tough and pointed out something small, but telling. When Ja got in Klay's face, he didn't even fully extend his arm. That bent elbow had Kenyon calling Ja fake tough, saying he acts like he wants smoke when everyone knows he doesn't really want that. Then Chandler Parsons added his voice too. He said if you're not on the floor backing it up, if you're in a team jumpsuit, you need to stay quiet and cheer for your squad. Simple rules. Former players, NBA vets, guys who lived in those locker rooms and understand the culture. All of them lined up on the same side. All of them agreeing with Klay. And all of them piling on Ja. And the silence from Ja's side, deafening. No teammate said Klay crossed the line. No coach stepped in to defend his guy. No close friends around the league spoke up. When the entire basketball world sides with the man who just called you out on national TV, that says way more than words ever could. What Klay said wasn't just his personal take, it was the consensus. Everyone was already thinking it. Klay just had the rings, the resume, and the respect to say it out loud. And this is where things get uncomfortable, because the worst part of his comments wasn't that they were harsh or disrespectful. The worst part is this: every word lines up with the numbers. The stats back him up. Start with the simplest truth. The Memphis Grizzlies are flat out better when Ja Morant doesn't play. After Ja went down with a calf injury, Memphis went 7-3 in the 10 games he missed. Before that, with Ja in the lineup, they opened the season 4-10. Same team, same coach, same system. Ja gets hurt, and suddenly they start winning. The entire feel of the game changes, and the tape backs it up. When Ja plays, Memphis ranks dead last in the NBA in passes per possession, 31st out of 30. The ball sticks. The offense freezes when it's in his hands. But when Ja sits, that exact same roster jumps to third most passes per possession in the league. One player removed, and the offense transforms. The ball moves. Teammates get involved. Ball dominance tells an even uglier story. Among players averaging at least 70 touches per game, Ja holds the ball the second longest per touch in the entire league. The only player ahead of him is James Harden, and Harden at least has context. Ja just pounds the air out of the ball, while teammates stand around waiting. Same possessions, same spacing, same uniforms. One guy controls everything, and the numbers don't lie. That's why Klay's words hit so hard. This wasn't emotion. This was data speaking loud and clear. All that ball dominance leads to almost nothing. The Memphis Grizzlies score less than 1 point per touch when Ja Morant controls the ball, which ranks dead last among high-usage players in the entire NBA. Not bottom 5, not bottom 10. Dead last. He holds the ball the longest, dribbles the most, and produces the least. So when Klay Thompson said Ja's career keeps leaving people wanting more, he wasn't throwing shade. He was reading the stat sheet. All that talent, all that bounce, all that hype, and somehow the results don't match, especially when the team literally performs better without him. December 12th against the Utah Jazz was supposed to flip the script. This was Ja's redemption night. After all the noise, this was his moment to shut Klay up and remind everyone who he is. Ja even bought 250 tickets for fans to pack the arena. He wanted the crowd loud, the energy right, and the spotlight fully on him. And at first glance, the box score looked solid. 21 points, 10 assists, a double-double in just 25 minutes. But the box score doesn't tell the full truth. Ja shot 7 for 20 from the field, 35%. He turned the ball over 4 times. And most importantly, Memphis lost. They lost to Utah, one of the weakest teams in the league. A team Memphis had beaten 5 straight times before. The big return, the packed house, the feel-good comeback, all of it ended in an L. A team openly rebuilding walked into Memphis and took the win the moment Jay came back. That's not proving Klay wrong, that's backing him up. And that's why Klay's comment stuck, because Ja keeps talking big, but the results keep telling a different story. And every time he produces just a little while, the game still ends in a loss. It stacks more proof onto Klay Thompson's case. But here's the part that should really scare Ja Morant. Klay didn't just embarrass him on TV, he made it acceptable for everyone else to finally say what they've been thinking. Before those comments, criticizing Ja felt risky. He's a 2-time All-Star, insanely popular, and one of the league's most marketable young faces. Going at him publicly could blow back on anyone who tried it. But once Klay said wasted talent and nobody defended Ja, the floodgates flew open. Now NBA executives are going on record saying they wouldn't want Jay on their roster, no matter the price. Even if Memphis gave him away for free, teams say they'd still pass. Too much baggage, too many concerns, injuries, declining impact, and a massive contract all wrapped together. On paper, the Houston Rockets make sense. They need a point guard with Fred VanVleet sidelined, and they have the assets to make a deal. But reports say they have zero interest in Ja, and the reasons keep repeating. The injuries alone, 185 games missed over 6 seasons. 2 off-court incidents cost him major time, ongoing friction with coaches, passive-aggressive press moments that don't help his image. Now, teams don't even have to dance around it. They point to what Klay said and the fact nobody pushed back. As proof, the entire league sees the same red flags. That's when a narrative turns into reality. Klay Thompson didn't just win a verbal exchange with Ja Morant that night. He reshaped how the entire league looks at him. Before that moment, teams might have been willing to gamble on Ja's talent, even with the red flags. After that night, those red flags became impossible to ignore. At 26 years old, this is supposed to be prime time for an NBA star. When healthy and locked in, Ja should be one of the most electric players in basketball, even flirting with MVP conversations. Instead, he's slowly turning into a warning sign, a player with elite physical gifts who just can't seem to put it all together. And here's the comparison that should really mess with him. Around league circles, people are starting to whisper Ben Simmons, another insanely talented player who had everything lined up but let outside stuff derail his rise. A guy who went from franchise cornerstone to someone teams couldn't even give away. Ja isn't there yet, but he's closer than anyone wants to admit. And every week that passes without real change pushes him further down that road. Klay did something that night no one else had the credibility to do. He said out loud what everyone else was only saying behind closed doors. He took all the doubts, concerns, and frustrations surrounding Ja Morant and blasted them onto national television. And in doing that, he may have altered the direction of Ja's entire career. Whether Klay went too far isn't even the real debate anymore. The real question is this: can Ja prove him wrong? Because everything happening in Memphis right now backs Klay up. The team plays better without their supposed franchise star. The league isn't lining up for him, and his trade value keeps dropping in real time. Klay Thompson called Ja Morant a wasted talent. And until Ja changes the story, those words are going to follow him everywhere. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was Klay out of line, or did Ja bring this on himself? And do you think Ja can really turn it around, or is Klay's prediction about his career coming true? If you want the full deep dive on everything going wrong with the Ja Morant situation in Memphis, I've got that breakdown waiting on the end screen. I'll catch you there.